I remember the summer of 1995. The school bell rang for the last time, and a vast ocean of time stretched out before me. Those 6 weeks felt like a lifetime. Each day was a long, unhurried adventure, filled with the simple joys of childhood. I remember the feeling of the sun on my skin as I rode my bike for what seemed like hours. The afternoons were spent building forts in the woods, each moment slow and deliberate. Time was a friend, a generous companion that gave us more than enough hours to explore, to dream, and to simply be. There was no rush, no schedule, just the gentle rhythm of long, light-filled days. Those summer holidays were worlds unto themselves. I can still recall the specific taste of ice pops, melting faster than I could eat them, the sticky sweetness dripping down my fingers. The days were so long that they could hold multiple chapters, a morning of cartoons, an afternoon of playing outside, and an evening of catching fireflies in a jar. Each memory from that time is rich and detailed, etched into my mind with incredible clarity. It felt as if time was moving in slow motion, allowing me to soak in every single sensation, every sound, and every sight. The world was new, and I had all the time in the world to discover it. Now, as an adult, time feels completely different. A week flashes by in the blink of an eye. I find myself saying, "Wasn't it just Monday?" on a Friday afternoon. The months blur together, and entire seasons seem to pass without me fully noticing their arrival or departure. A year, which once felt like an eternity, now feels like a short, hurried sprint. The long, lazy days of childhood have been replaced by a relentless series of tasks, meetings, and obligations. What happened to that slow, benevolent river of time? Why does it now feel like a rushing torrent, pulling us along faster and faster each year? This feeling is not unique to me. It is a universal human experience. We all wonder where the time has gone. We look at old photographs and are shocked to see how much has changed in what feels like such a short period. The slow, deliberate pace of our early years gives way to a sense of acceleration as we age. This isn't just a feeling or a trick of the mind. There are real psychological and neurological reasons behind this phenomenon. Understanding why time seems to speed up is the first step toward learning how we can consciously slow it down and make our lives feel fuller and more meaningful. One of the oldest and simplest explanations for this phenomenon is called Janet's hypothesis. It was proposed by the philosopher Paul Janet in the late 19th century. He suggested that we perceive a period of time relative to the total amount of time we have already lived. It is a simple but powerful idea based on proportion. For a 5-year-old child, 1 year represents 20% of their entire life. That is a huge chunk of their existence. It is a significant and substantial period, filled with massive developmental leaps and countless new experiences that shape their entire world. When you are 10 years old, a year is still a very significant 10% of your life. Think about how much you learned and changed between the age of 9 and 10. You likely started a new school year, made new friends, and learned countless new things. The year felt long because it was, in a very real sense, a large fraction of your lived experience. Your brain was busy creating a dense network of memories during that time, making the period feel substantial and long-lasting. Each day was a building block in the giant castle of your young life, and you could feel each one being carefully placed. Now contrast this with a 50-year-old adult. For them, 1 year is only 2% of their life. From a proportional standpoint, it is a much smaller and less significant fraction. The passing of a single year does not carry the same weight it once did. It is a smaller sliver of a much larger pie. This mathematical reality helps explain why the years seem to fly by faster as we get older. Our perspective on time shifts as our total lifespan increases. The same 365 days feel shorter simply because we have so many more days to compare them to. This hypothesis gives us a logical framework for understanding our subjective experience of time. It tells us that our perception is not fixed but is constantly changing relative to our own personal history. While it might seem a bit disheartening to think that time will only feel faster from here on out, this is only one part of the puzzle. Janet's hypothesis explains the mathematical foundation, but it doesn't account for the richness of our experiences or the way our brains process information. There are other factors at play that have an even greater impact on how we perceive the flow of our days. Another powerful explanation is the novelty theory. This idea suggests that our brain remembers new experiences in greater detail than familiar ones. When we are young, almost everything is new. Our first day of school, our first time riding a bike without training wheels, our first trip to the beach. These are all significant, novel events. Our brain works hard to encode these firsts into our memory. It pays close attention to the sensory details, the emotions, and the context. This deep level of processing creates rich, dense memories that make the period of time feel longer in hindsight. Think back to a memorable vacation you took to a new country. You can probably recall the sights, sounds, and smells with vivid clarity. You remember the winding streets of a new city, the taste of unfamiliar food, and the feeling of navigating a place where you didn't speak the language. The first few days of that trip probably feel much longer than a typical week at home. This is because your brain was in high alert mode, absorbing a constant stream of new information. It was creating a detailed map of this new experience, which stretches your perception of the time it took. As we get older, our lives often become more routine. We drive the same route to work, eat similar meals, and interact with the same people. There are far fewer firsts. Our brain, being highly efficient, goes into an autopilot mode for these familiar activities. It doesn't need to record every detail of your daily commute because it has done it 1,000 times before. It simply registers commute to work and moves on. This process, known as chunking, saves mental energy, but it comes at a cost. The memories for these routine periods are thin and sparse, causing time to feel like it's slipping through our fingers. This is why a monotonous week can feel like it vanished in an instant when you look back on it. Without novel experiences to anchor our memories, the days and weeks blend into an indistinct blur. The brain has not laid down any significant new memory files, so when you try to recall that period, there is very little to access. It is like fast-forwarding through a movie scene that you have already watched many times. The key to slowing down our perception of time, then, lies in breaking these routines and actively seeking out new and engaging experiences that force our brain out of its comfortable autopilot. In our modern world, there is another powerful force at play, the dopamine loop, often fueled by technology. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter in the brain that is associated with pleasure and motivation. Many of our digital activities, such as scrolling through social media, checking emails, or playing mobile games, are designed to give us small, frequent hits of dopamine. Each like, new message, or reward in a game triggers a tiny release of this chemical, creating a cycle that keeps us coming back for more. We are constantly seeking the next small reward. This constant chase for dopamine has a strange effect on our perception of time. When we are engrossed in these quick, rewarding activities, our attention becomes very narrow. We lose track of the world around us in the passage of hours. Have you ever sat down to quickly check your phone, only to look up and realize an hour has disappeared? This is the dopamine loop in action. Our brain is so focused on the immediate gratification of the next notification that it stops paying attention to the broader flow of time. It is a state of distraction that makes time seem to collapse. This pattern is very different from the deep engagement of a novel experience. When you are learning something new or exploring a new place, your attention is broad and curious. You are taking in a wide range of sensory information. But when you are scrolling on a device, your attention is narrow and repetitive. The experience lacks the richness and depth needed to create strong, lasting memories. As a result, the hours spent in this state leave very little impression on our memory. It is time spent, but not time invested in creating a meaningful past. The routines of modern life, combined with the constant pull of our devices, create a perfect storm for subjective time acceleration. We move from one familiar task to another, filling the gaps with quick dopamine-driven distractions. This lifestyle minimizes novelty and keeps our brains on a low-power, autopilot setting. We are not giving our minds the new, complex information needed to build the rich memories that make time feel full and slow. We are essentially living the same day over and over again, and our brain treats it as such, compressing it all into a short, indistinct memory. The good news is that we are not powerless against this acceleration of time. By understanding the forces that shape our perception, we can take active steps to slow it down and make our lives feel longer and more fulfilling. The most powerful tool we have is novelty. We must consciously break our routines. This doesn't mean you have to quit your job and travel the world. Small changes can make a huge difference. Try taking a different route to work, exploring a new park in your city, or visiting a museum you have never been to before. Another key strategy is to engage in learning. Learning a new skill, whether it is a musical instrument, a new language, or a craft like pottery, forces your brain to create new neural pathways. It demands your full attention and engages you in a process of discovery. This state of deep, focused engagement is the opposite of mindless scrolling. It creates the kind of rich, detailed memories that stretch our sense of time. Reading a challenging book, taking a weekend class, or even trying a complex new recipe can introduce this powerful element of learning into your life. It is also crucial to be mindful and present in the moment. Practice paying attention to your senses. When you are eating a meal, savor each bite instead of watching TV. When you are walking outside, notice the feeling of the air, the sounds of the city, and the colors of the sky. This practice of mindfulness anchors you in the present and prevents your brain from slipping into autopilot. By consciously observing the world around you, you are feeding your mind the raw material it needs to build strong memories, making each moment count instead of letting it slip away unnoticed. Ultimately, slowing down time is about living a more deliberate and engaged life. It is about choosing curiosity over comfort and experience over efficiency. We cannot add more hours to our day, but we can make the hours we have feel richer and more expansive. By seeking out novelty, embracing learning, and practicing mindfulness, we can fight back against the feeling of time slipping away. We can fill our years with the kind of dense, meaningful memories that made those childhood summers feel so endless. We have the power to reclaim our time and make every moment truly matter.